they're facets of the artist, if you like, two different sides of the artist, but very contradictory sides, between whom there's some tension.
I also think it's probably useful. That's a very useful idea. And I think the other useful idea is that Ansel is also the other effect. So he inhabits this position. You know, there's a playwright, an Irish playwright called Murphy. And Murphy has a great line in one of his plays where he says, one guy says to another, pointing to another fellow, he says, between the two of you, you'd make one good man. So neither of them is complete. But I think it's probably worth hazarding, certainly for rehearsal purposes, that when we get to that moment of the Pieta, that they do become one in a certain way.
You know, I hadn't thought about it before, but that's very nice, because Gruber makes the point to Ansel when writing his ballads. The words don't line up by themselves. It takes a little force. And actually, yeah, I mean, Feck, who wants to clean up the state, who wants to correct all these, or abolish, or annihilate all these requiems, is actually the artist of the state.
Yes. Yeah. He's got the technique, he's got the technology of the state, and he's going to apply it. So in a sense, he's a creator, in the same way that Petra is too. So that's four people who believe themselves to be involved in a creative project, and overarching the whole thing, bosses, perverted, twisted, calamitous experiment with the people, which is called art.
I mean, we went on a walking tour of Anonymous Constructions. I hope I can say this here, but I mean, you might want to think about this in terms of the new society. You know, here was a project that was meant to be saving the building, and it went wrong. But at what point did it go? Where did it go? You know, was there something good that people could believe in or not? Taking the Philippines out of the ruins and making it a new society? I assume that a lot of people believe it. And a lot of people maybe even still do. So you have to understand that although obviously the force of the play is antagonistic to that regime, that the people in the play, with the exception of Gruber, believed it and thought they were doing something right. You know, and at one point had no doubts that they were doing something right and good, and that the boss must have represented them.
That's a really interesting point, because I think it helps the soldiers, and I think it helps Spanos and Feck and Petra if we actually accord to them some kind of basic humanity. It's very difficult because they do atrocious things, but that it is their last day too. They're steeped in blood at this stage, almost like Macbeth and Lady Macbeth. But that there was maybe a moment somewhere along the line where, in the same way that Ansel did, Ansel was their peer. They went right into the project. Then he came out, and it's his defection from the project that is very painful to them as well. Apart from the fact that things literally collapsing. It's just sometimes it can be hard for an actor to play a very unsympathetic role. It happened to me once years ago, and the author of the play was not alone in the room; he was in the play as well. And he said to me, I said to him at the end of rehearsals, I'm just not getting this, you know. And he said to me, well, what's your problem? I said, he's such a bastard. He said, yeah, do you like him? I said, Jesus, no. He said, you'll be no good until you do. You've got to like him. They've got to hate him, but you've got to like him. And it's that moment where he actually begins then to expound his vision with utter sincerity. Even if he's playing it, a double game, he believes it. And if you can get that, or the beginnings of that, I think it's a really interesting challenge for an actor. It's easy to play a good game.
You're saying the last day. Is that the kind of omniscient point of view, or that people know the last day?
I think there's an intuition abroad, and I think when Ansel sees whatever he sees out the window,
A bit of shit.
yeah, shit. Shit. And he immediately runs to sort Gruber out, get the place sorted out. They're going to be coming in. This is a big day. It's going to be a more than usual kind of inspection. And he's Gruber's carer. Neither of them ever acknowledged him. He does in the soliloquy at the end. And they never really talk about it, like the married couple. And I think that there is that moment, and I think it helps the cast to feel this is it before the audience moves into this dramatic world.
I mean, there's an urgency to Petra's
Oh,
request,
yeah.
an urgency to Hammond,
Yeah,
crisis,
to
yeah.
get him out. And this is the last, the ditch, you might say, the day.
Yeah. Well, you save the form of it anyway. It might be one more rally.
One more rally.
There might be nobody at it, but it would be a rally for the mass.
One more rally. And that they're getting it.
And that's what he's refusing.
Another word. The thing is, this guy can't decide.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he doesn't see the world like that. He thinks he's logical and rational. He doesn't see himself as inside. This is the way things must be done. I must weigh this and I must weigh that. And then weigh this again, and then weigh that. And there's something else, weigh that and that. And that's his problem.
Is it the valid question to ask why he is inside? Where is this conflict from?
Yeah.
I'm so conflicted.
I think he has a very highly developed concept of the good in the way that a saint would have, and also in the way that a fascist would have. And I think that he has invested heavily in a narrative of his life in which he has embodied goodness. And he has also had his road to Damascus, where he has seen that his goodness was practiced upon by evil and perverted, and now he must, as surely as he went for the project, he must now come away from the project. I think there's vanity there too. I think he kind of feels, I can bring the boss down. You know, he's presenting all these people in here to me. These people, these guys coming and saying, "Herr Professor, well," and he kind of likes that. You know. So I don't think Hansen is a good guy. Nice. This is a brave play, you know, which makes it interesting.
I think maybe one of the difficult things is that perhaps most people don't believe in the power of art, and that's what really does. And he's an exceptional person who once has been proved right. Art actually did make something happen. The old phrase, art makes something happen. Well, in that case, art made something happen. And he thought it made happen was good. So that it was really, and he says early in the play, you know, that it was sublime and beautiful. He did believe. Gruber says, I never believed that shit. But Ansel did. And now the shock is, I think you're absolutely right, put it like the director. He wants always to be good. He's one of those people who always believes himself to be good. And his faith in that has been shaken to the ground. Because look what happened. They're shooting children outside his door, casually. You know? The whole thing is falling apart, and he's responsible. So how does he get himself out of that? And still believe in art, which is the one belief he has, really. So he's struggling with, how do I justify this obvious contradiction? This beautiful art that has produced this mess of the country is ruining it.
I think alongside that, for Gruber, don't believe that what Gruber says is what he feels. Often it works against what he feels. There's an Irish saying, that's all shite. It's all rubbish, you know. Very often people who say that don't believe that, you know. But it's a way of, it's like if somebody's paid a compliment and they say, you're a great artist. Oh, no, I'm not. And at the same time, the person most like Gruber in the whole world, for all their differences, is Ansel. In this moment, they are absolutely locked together. Because while they debate art, and while they don't practice art in the same way, different art forms, different perspectives, they are still more like each other than they're like anybody else that we meet within this dramatic world. And I think that's why, in the end, Ansel, as a memorial and also an act of defiance, as you said to me earlier, becomes Gruber. He takes up the brush. You know.
Okay. Will we rehearse now? Good stuff. Okay. So let's just rehearse and then we can
Absolutely. Thank you.
All this time. I have no idea how exciting and moving it is.